in the middle of the freaking aisle. Look right at me knowing I need to get past you. Never mind that there's a post in the middle of the aisle that I can't get past, and you're in the one area that I could go through. You're gonna look right at me and go right back to looking at the freaking shelves. Like, those are the people that I just want to, like, kick out of the way and to keep walking.
There's Sweater Squad here.
Oh, good times. Well, there's so low player population that
I know,
those guys are getting matched to these high-level matches.
Sad, isn't it?
I kind of feel bad for those guys, because this is their, like...
Because that'd be epic.
I feel bad for them, because this is probably some of their, like, first experiences with the game, and they're gonna get wrecked against these people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, if I were in that situation, conducting a first 15, I wouldn't necessarily be all that gentle.
Right.
I can hear the jokes in my head now. Just matchmaking? What's that? Even though, like, it is in the game, it's just... It doesn't necessarily look like it at first glance when the player population is so low.
Right.
Oh, hi, buddies.
Mentix
I see you.
asks, Ghost, you doing an after stream today? And Toast goes, I can't help but imagine Cliff literally roundhouse kicking a guy in his way at the store.
Ow.
I'm actually half tempted to do an after stream of this, just straight up, because I just got started not that long ago. I don't know if I want to play by myself, but I might do something else instead. It'd be kind of boring to play this game by yourself.
I kind of use it as, like, a zen downtime kind of game.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I don't mind streaming it, or especially if I'm on somebody else's stream, but this is my relaxation game.
Yeah, same here.
Now that I'm not experiencing constant bugs and the weapons actually work.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm getting hardcore overbanding again, though.
Toast says, just be like, get out of my way! Roundhouse kick to the shelves.
That does kind of remind me, though, of a thing that happened in college. I won't mention any names. Actually, I don't know any names, so there's none to mention. But I had, like, this just, like, snap moment when she was really sick and was back at the dorm, and I was still living, you know, in the dorms on campus in college. I went to the cafeteria on campus.
No.
Rather, the dining hall, whatever. And left her sleeping in bed so that she could get better. And when I was trying to juggle, like, 2 plates of food, 2 drinks, and still managed to shuffle my way through a checkout line and then wander about a quarter mile back to the dorms. And then, right in line, as I'm waiting, this jackass with a backpack right in front of me in line just turns around, and as he turns, his backpack just knocks all the food all over the freaking ground. And, like, I'd have been frustrated but not mad at him, because accidents happen. If he would have immediately turned around and just been like, oh shit, my bad, sorry about that, then I would have just been like, yeah, okay, whatever, things happen, don't worry about it. And just gotten more food. Instead, dude looks at it, turns, laughs, and then starts to, like, you know, elbow the chick next to him that he's clearly trying to show off for. And I had already had a shit week, I was concerned about her, I just snapped. And immediately my foot just, like, shot up, and a little voice in the back of my head is going, what are you doing? Don't do this, what are you doing? My foot just shot up, kicked the food plate out of his hand up into his face. His drink went everywhere. And I just immediately adopted a fighting stance, just like, come the fuck at me. And I can tell for about a half second he had that look in his eye like, I want to fight you, but you kind of terrify me.
Yep.
And he just kind of had that like, what the hell? I immediately realized, okay, I've got about a 10-second window here. I can either hold my ground and fight this guy over nothing, or I can walk away, look angry, and leave him wondering what the hell just happened. Let's take option B.
So Menthius told Toast, Mr. B is not Chuck Norris. He will not roundhouse kick. B will just straight punch his chest and rip the heart out.
Actually, my...
And Toast goes, yikes, how about just picking up his cart and slamming it into the guy?
my immediate, like, reaction shot of choice is usually a
Oh,
sidekick.
I love this AKM. Thing is gold.
Oh yeah, AKMs are awesome. When I upgraded from the Caparis to that, my kill to death ratio got a lot better. But yeah, my initial like reaction in fights is usually either going to be some kind of joint lock or like a sidekick to the hip to just off balance somebody or put distance between me and them.
Speaking of kicks and things, that just reminded me. This is a kid at my school who, for whatever reason, just likes to act big, and it's really funny because the other day he got into.
Got your back covered.
Nice, thank you.
He wasn't serious. But he was talking a lot of, I don't know, game. It was one of my friends, and he was just like, "I'll drop kick you right now. I'll run across this floor and drop kick you right now." And my friend was just like,
Do it.
"Okay, really, go ahead and do it." Thinking that he wasn't really gonna try and do it, and he sees the kid like sprinting at him full force. My friend's his first reaction is sweep the leg, and he just like
Yep.
ninja rolls and sweeps his leg.
Beautiful.
And the kid he just loses his leg like it's just gone, and just bangs his head on the floor.
Beauty.
And I thought it was really funny.
Okay, so it says, or just put the guy into a cart and bend it closed into a cage and kick it over. And then Toes goes, poof. Or just put the guy in the cart and punt the thing away. And Thea says, okay, and light the cage on fire. Better? And Toes goes, yes.
You guys are violent. I approve.
See, this is what they think you should do. This is how they imagine you.
I want you guys to be my anger management coaches.
Yes.
Oh God, have you seen the Key and Peele anger management thing?
I haven't. I've heard it's really good though.
Oh my God.
Key and Peele are actually pretty damn funny.
It is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yes. Then cackle in an evil manner, says Toast.
Oh god, I just realized how high up I am. There we go. Yeah, like I
We're a
try.
violent species.
Oh yeah.
Ramstein.
I always have like this weird like balance to strike because like, people are judgy on the internet. Like I can only talk so much about the fact that like I've done martial arts for years. I've been in a lot of fights because I used to be a rather angry and violent individual. I'm not so much anymore, but things happen. But like I never know how much I can actually mention.
Really, dude? Really, dude? I'm standing there. This guy's behind me. He's trying to melee me. I'm pointing my gun at his face. I'm standing there, not caring. Like, dude, are you gonna kill me or not? Come on. Finally, I just lit him up with a mag.
Good. Well played.
Enlightenment.
You're a moron.
Indiana Jones moment.
Moron race.
Whoa!
Wow. Like, dude, how can you not melee me?
Melee is actually kind of difficult because there's no player collision in this game yet.
Right, but he was in my face. I mean, I was literally standing right.
Yeah, at that range. It should
I
be
couldn't move. I was on the
cakewalk.
ledge. It's like, dude, really? You have reticles.
Ow, 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 damn. But yeah, like, I never know how much I can actually talk about my fighting experience here, because after a while, I know there's always going to be the knee-jerk of, you know, just, you're just making that shit up. Oh, watch out, we got a badass over here.
No!
We can show them the black belt on screen if we have to.
Ouch!
Only one of them.
Well, yeah.
Let me move. Let me move. I'm gonna die. Yep, I died.
Ow, ow, ow. But yeah, I mean, for anybody curious, since we're on the subject, I got my start in boxing from my stepmom, who was, back in, I believe, the 80s, a co-ed Golden Gloves boxing champion, so good teacher. From there, went over to kickboxing, did a Japanese form that is difficult to pronounce for about 3 years, then shifted to Taekwondo, and in college did Kajikembo, so I've been kind of all over the place in different styles.
I revenge you!
Thank you, so.
You're welcome.
I recognize, however, that my weakness is absolutely ground fighting. I am a terrible grappler on the ground. Standing,
Really? I love grappling.
like, I don't mind doing it, I'm just absolutely just balls at it. Like, standing,
He's
like
not
doing
good at it. He
standing,
really isn't.
standing joint locks and grappling while on one's feet, I've got just, like, legs of stone. I'm very difficult to get onto the ground. But once I do end up on the ground, I'm usually just like, nah, you already won, dude. You don't need, just, you're done. But,
Nice. Okay.
like, that's the area I recognize I need to improve on. But I would actually rather continue to study standing forms, because it's just what I enjoy a bit more.
He has more
And
fun that way.
I
Well,
really...
you have to do what you enjoy.
Oh yeah. I really want to study Krav Maga at some point, like the real Krav Maga, not the sportized, Americanized version. Of which there's only a few legit studios in the States. Almost all of them are Americanized.
Yep.
To get applicable Krav Maga is kind of difficult and usually pretty pricey.
Mm-hmm.
Ow! I've taken 2 good seminars from actual Krav Maga instructors that were like good friends of my instructors, so they actually knew the guys that could teach the real thing. But you know, obviously a seminar does not impart all knowledge.
No.
It's just enough to be like, okay, this is actually really functional, this is really practical, it's easy to do, it makes sense, it works on your base reflexes, it doesn't worry about flashy form, it's all about getting the job done and not getting hurt. And I love that about Krav Maga.
No, you have to fight like the Power Rangers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can recognize the artistry in a lot of especially Eastern forms that are very flashy, are very flowy, not necessarily practical, because I can appreciate the art aspect of martial art, but when it comes to the self-defense aspect, yeah, artistry doesn't save your damn life.
No, it really doesn't.
Well, unless you just happen to scare the shit out of the other guy.
Yeah, I was like, when I studied Hapkido, I was like the ground fighter of the group. I could get, I was hard to get down just because I had a weight and mass advantage over.
Same here.
Used to be muscled. I don't know what happened.
I know what happens. This happened.
I was actually in pretty good shape back then, and I was hard to get down, but like, I could take people down so quickly, and somebody would think that they're good at like resisting it, because I love ground fighting so much. And once they were down, it's like, no, you're stuck.
Yeah, you could probably wreck me if you got me on the ground. I'm really difficult to get down there, but once I'm down, I'm just like, nah.
Right, I have trouble getting down. Once you were down, I probably do something. I don't know if I'd actually win, but...
My immediate reaction when somebody takes me to the ground is to just start like kicking and punching and just get away from them.
Whatsoever.
And not
Because
happen.
that's panic.
Yeah.
And panic is so easy to defeat.
Oh yeah.
It's like, because like all my classmates did that because they just sucked at ground fighting. They didn't like it, so they didn't do it.
Yeah.
And as soon as they started panicking, I'm like, yeah, guess what? You just left your entire throat available.
Yeah.
Good night. And it's like, it was always, my teacher loved it. She'd always like pair me with the ones who needed to learn. And it was like, I would go into them, and as soon as I got them down, a couple seconds later, they're like tapping out frantically as I'm choking.
Yep.
I'm like,
Oh, I've been that guy.
don't struggle. I mean,
Yeah.
don't struggle.
I prefer the ground and
fight.
pound. Yeah.
And you're in the same place. Yeah.
Toast says, it would be interesting if someone could actually block bullets with a sword. Obviously can't, but still.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work that way.
Nah, nobody's reflexes or perception, as far as like seeing bullets with the naked eye, is that good.
Right. I wonder if
so
we're actually going
cut
to kill
the
all of
bullet.
them in the next 42 seconds. I doubt it.
I don't know, maybe. If they like Zerg rush and we just annihilate them.
Yeah.
Either way, we're ahead. I doubt we're gonna lose 10 people in 30 seconds anyway, so we've pretty much already won.
And you're on top. I was in second place, but I got knocked down.
That actually makes me wonder, how fast do you have to swing a sword, and how fast does the bullet have to be traveling for a sword to cut through a bullet?
I don't know. I think Mythbusters actually tested that at some point. I don't remember exactly what the outcome was, though.
And like, what kind of, I don't know, like steel or metals would best on the sword?
There we go.
Except like in the anime Sword Art Online 2.
I've actually still not seen much of any sort
Wow.
of. Oh damn! Best player and best shooter.
Nice.
Get that dirt off your shoulder. That just happened. Now you gotta deal with that.
Wow.
Oh god.
Wasted a map on that.
You're a warrant officer now.
Wait, what?
Nice. Best player, best shooter.
Oh, nice.
That means you can get new stuffs.
Oh, I can buy new things now.
Yep.
Yay.
The main character can do the blocking bullets with a
Maybe you
sword.
can't watch
He
the
says it's
stream.
different, and the Mythbusters busted that myth.
Because I just made a Jay-Z reference.
I can't
Oh.
watch this stream or be part of the open community.
We can't be a part of this anymore.
Let's make our own community. Don't need them anymore.
You've outgrown us.
No, I just don't need dirt and shoulder references.
No, then I couldn't make response videos and stuff like that. That was so much fun. I am now guaranteed, thanks to that, I am now gonna play absolutely every indie game you ever make. Just because I've learned my lesson. The Bunker 16, Antiseptic, that one, I mean, they're
It's
so
awesome,
long.
isn't it?
I've
They
been
are so
getting
good.
like, I've noticed that like a lot of the videos that I make that are like higher in the popularity thing on the analytics or whatever are some indie games as well. Like Wolfenstein is one of my highest
Oh,
rated
Wolfenstein was
videos.
so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, especially like playing some of the more popular on GameJolt indie games is usually pretty good traffic-wise because indie games have got a pretty damn dedicated like viewership unto themselves as a genre, and there aren't that many people covering them compared to, you know, stuff like Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty or Battlefield. So it generally works out that there are less people covering something that is still a pretty high traffic like genre of viewership. So they tend to work out well in the analytic end of things.
Cynthia says the sword doesn't need to move to cut the bullet. And if you can handle it, hit the bullet, you could possibly split it so it's flying far enough away from you that you're safe behind the blade.
Right.
It'd be
Probably.
like
but
a 1 in a million
Yep.
instance of it happening, but it's
Yep.
theoretically possible,
So
I
it
think.
says
it would be
also the
like,
main character is a
really? That
lightsaber.
happened? I
A
can't-
lightsaber.
Yeah.
The bullet basically melts. I question that logic since molten metal can most likely hit you.
Yeah.
Matthew says more like vaporize the bullet. Just melting would quite hurt you if you get hit with high-speed molten metal. So it says unless the
Actually,
plasma
lightsaber-
is so hot it dissolves the bullet down to nothing.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I still remember this. It's such a little thing, but it was the old PlayStation 1 Star Wars Episode 1 game. I was so annoyed, and Jedi Power Battles did the same thing. Anybody remember Jedi Power Battles? You couldn't block Tusken Raider's rifle bullets with a lightsaber, and it pissed me off so badly. Like, I understand that you can't reflect them back because they should melt the second they hit the blade, but no, they go right through it and freaking kill you in like 3 shots. I hated it.
They shouldn't even melt. They should disintegrate.
Yeah, just immediately, just like plasmatize.
Yeah, it's not hot. It would instantly disintegrate. Like, duh. And yeah, that pissed me off too. I don't play those games anymore. I was so pissed off by them.
Like, I hated the Tatooine level in Jedi Power Battles because of that.
Yep.
The rest of that game I adored. Although I was irritated because that game came out right before Episode 1 was actually released in theaters. And or wait, no, was it Episode 2? Whichever one it was where you actually got to see, it must have been Episode 2, where you actually got to see the color of some of the other Jedi Council members' lightsabers, because their lightsaber colors didn't match the ones from Jedi Power Battles. I was like, no!
Yeah, it was Episode 2. It was Episode 2. Yeah, it was right before it.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Because I was so used to, like, Adi Gallia having a red blade, or Plo Koon having, like, an orange blade. I'm like, this isn't right. No. The movies are wrong, except the game is wrong. But I played the game first, so the movies are wrong.
Yeah, that's when I was pissed off. Episode 2 and Episode 3 did not have any orange lightsabers that I could see.
No, like they went all back to just like the blue and green, and only Mace Windu was special.
And they didn't even have yellow, which has long been considered Star Wars canon.
Well, that's Knights of the Old Republic introduced that, but
Don't remind me. Knights
like,
of the Old Republic had all sorts of cool things.
I still get a kick though. Speaking of Mace Windu's,
I'm gonna replay Knights of the Old Republic 2 next.
I remember an interview with Samuel L. Jackson where he was recounting where he got like recruited to play Mace Windu and cast for it, and he like confounded the casting people because he was just like, I will absolutely play this character if you guarantee that I can have a lightsaber of whatever color I want.
Mm-hmm.
And they just were like, okay, I want a purple lightsaber. Okay.
Yeah.
At least he didn't demand that it say "badass motherfucker" on it.
Are you gonna?
Yeah.
Are you gonna ready up, guys? Or are you done?
Is it just me though?
I'm kind of thinking of winding down.
Okay.
Is it just me, or did
You're done?
Samuel L. Jackson
Yeah.
seem kind of awkward in his portrayal of Mace Windu?
A little, because like you could tell though he actually really cared about the role, but I think he cared a little too much. Like he was too intense.
Yeah.
Menthius
Kinda
says,
was.
what do you guys think about the new light sword from the new trailer? Toast wants it. I
Oh.
want the great sword lightsaber.
I could go on a whole nerd rant with this, but
I can't.
the short version is I don't like it because I don't think it actually makes a great deal of sense due to the fact that it doesn't have any backward, as in toward the wielder's hands, protection, such that if you turn the blade and the crossguard would at any point come in contact with your forearm or wrist, there's no protection that you could sever your own damn hand off. And anybody that has studied the way to use a weapon that uses a broad crossguard like that knows the crossguard is going to come in contact with your forearm. That's just the way that happens. So,
Oh, that one.
yeah, the one from the...
They're talking about the triple beam.
Yeah, exactly. The weird triple beam crossguard
Yeah.
thingy from the new trailer.
Without something to protect your hand, that is just plain old.
Yeah, like there should be something like between one's hand and that blade. I don't mind there being a crossguard. I think it makes a great deal of sense, but it's just not properly like user friendly. That's the only thing I don't like about it.
Right.
The reason I don't like about it is because in Star Wars lore, this saber is wrong because it either has to have 3 different crystals or some type of mechanism that loops the blade,
Well,
the actual like
No,
beam.
it-
The
back
thing
in.
is, the one thing to remember about the inclusion of expanded universe explanations for it all is that none of that is relevant anymore. J.J. Abrams has completely thrown out everything that is not coming from the established movies. So all of the stuff that one could make up is just like, well, maybe it's made of cortosis and all of that. None of that is relevant because none of that comes from the films themselves. So
Menthius just thinks it looks awesome.
yeah, it
After
looks cool.
Lightsaber.
It just doesn't make functional sense.
He's saying completely film based. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like 6 months ago.
Yeah, they're
He threw out all of the expanded universe novels, all of the comics, all of the
which makes sense though because there's nothing left to do but copy.
yeah, like
books.
she and I have actually tried to write our own like novel set within the Star Wars universe, and it is difficult because like every little point on the timeline is like already claimed by this, that, or the other comic book, extra little cartoon, whatever.
We found
So-
one spot that actually
Yeah,
fits for what we
there's
wanted.
there's like no room left to create any new movies, so it kind of makes sense from a creator's standpoint that he would just tuck it all out and do something with it. And, like,
It's still pisses me off.
and like it does to me as well. Like I do consider it to be kind of callously dismissive of all of the thought and care that's gone into the expanded universe.
Right.
But like I said, I can understand the argument both ways.
You'll be missing out on so many things though that the
Oh, yeah.
expanded universe added. Like,
Yeah.
so
Like, I don't
many
even know-
planets and things.
Yeah, I don't even know whether or not the Clone Wars animated series is considered canon. I honestly don't know. And I keep...
To be honest, I don't even like the Clone Wars series.
Well, like, I don't like the visual style of it, but I've read through the plot synopsis of it, and the plot is freaking amazing. I wish whoever
That's
wrote
why I
that
watch it.
Yeah, like I wish whoever wrote that series had written the prequel trilogy because it's so much better. I just can't stand looking at it, so I prefer to read it.
Really? You can't stand looking at it?
I don't like the art style. I don't like the weird what is it? Proportions and stuff. Like the choreography is great. The fight scenes are still cool to watch, especially Maul versus I forget his name, the dude with the black lightsaber. That was an amazing fight. But I don't like the visual style. The writing is great though.
The reason I stopped watching it was because like halfway through one of the seasons, I don't remember which one. It might have been like one of the later seasons. The show just got really, really slow, and like episode after episode just got really, really slow, and it started to annoy me to the point where I just couldn't watch the show anymore. I just gave up on it.
It got better eventually.
I did kind of like that. I did kind of like that they actually.
It makes sense. Number one, Sith are known to make their weapons look scary. Number two, it's functional because the crossguard is not actual short light swords. It's exhaust things from the crystal. You can even see it in the trailer because they flicker and also kind of flames, not a beam.
It looks like that, but the thing is, even the long blade looks like
it's crackly.
I don't like the look of it.
It's crackly and unstable looking. And the thing is, like, if
it's an unstable crystal.
And if it is a vent, then if it's giving off that kind of heat, such that it is a visible flame, you still don't want that coming in contact with your forearm.
No, I don't want that anywhere near my hand.
No, hell no.
I mean, just think about regular car exhaust now. Leave a car
like
engine
on as far as like tabletop stuff is concerned, I know it's basically just a rule of cool sort of weapon, which is to say, if it's cool enough, just let it in. Just don't worry about it. Don't worry about the practicality.
I mean, the logic in Star Wars is that the Jedi and the Sith are trained so that it won't touch them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the blatant rule through all the books.
Yeah, like as
it pisses me off, but you know.
Like coming from a martial arts background and being a huge Star Wars nerd, I admit to this with no problem. I tried to figure out with my little toy lightsabers how actual lightsaber combat would work, because the thing almost nobody remembers or thinks or even has the presence of mind or the combat knowledge to think of is the fact that the blade has no weight, none whatsoever. It's light, or plasma, whatever it is, magnetized plasma. But with a blade with no weight, you're only really controlling something like this, and to try and come up with leverage and the ability to spin it and keep control over it is completely different with an object weighted and balanced like that as compared to a traditional sword. So the combat is just like odd, and no movie, only the graphic novels to my knowledge, unless Clone Wars did it and I just didn't see it, has ever really taken advantage of how different it really is. Like, what's to say if you're like saber locked with somebody that you couldn't immediately just like tap the blade off, let them like have that little off balance, whoop, and then tap the blade back on and doink, head off. Nobody has done that in film.
I think one of the explanations that I heard about like the reasons that like I guess the wielder of a lightsaber couldn't hurt him or herself with the actual blade was something to do with the Force. And
it's just force focus hand wave reason.
Yeah, it's basically Mr. Black anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Menthius says, I still want that thing because the past sword just kills the coolness of every Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, like, it looks cool. I don't dispute that at all. It looks badass. It just, like I said, the practicality of the design bugs me.
I like the super long sword. I don't like the crossguards. I think if they were going to do that, I think they should have made it look.
I want to see somebody with, like, a lightsaber greatsword, like, requiring two hands.
Like a literal
like a 7-foot-long blade. I want to see that.
That's the thing.
Is it?
It was in one of the books. It was a two-handed grip. It was like
what's it called?
It wasn't. There are light stabs.
I've seen those.
A long one and a long blade.
Kevin Bro says, "How's the game? Too fancy?"
You're kind of late. This is apparently somewhere along the line turned into a Star Wars podcast with a Survarium lobby in the background.
Actually, the first boss that you fight in the Star Wars Force Unleashed games, in the first one, the first guy you fight, the first
You mean
what is it?
Coda?
Yeah, he holds a double. Like,
That's right. Yeah, he uses a
He
two-hand
has-
style.
he has a two-handed style with a longer grip, but it's a
Yeah.
standard like blade. In the I can't remember what book it was.
Coda is basically like a
It was
very overtly samurai-themed Jedi.
yeah, in every way.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when he goes blind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Complete with the drunkenness later on.
But yeah, I mean, there was in one of the books. It was a great sword length blade. It was like a 7-foot blade, and it
Nice.
was
Oh.
I think they described it as 3.5 hand hilt.
Wow.
I think, and he couldn't. What was it? He had to use so much power to make the thing work or something. He had to use 2 hands at all times.
Gotcha.
Something
So-
like that because it just wouldn't work.
Yeah. That's something I've never understood, especially from the Sith in Star Wars. If, like, you're in a lightsaber clash, like Mr. B, you brought this up earlier. If you're in a
Yeah.
lightsaber clash and you're a Sith, and you generally don't give a fuck, why don't you just
Yeah, like,
turn it off?
dude,
and
fight
turn
dirty,
it on?
man.
Yeah.
Like-
Well, they actually do that in the books.
Yep.
Like,
There
I
was
just
a
think about it as,
lightsaber
like,
with it's Exar Kun.
Ah, okay, yeah.
think about it as-
Exar Kun fights dirty, man.
His standard combat style was to turn the one blade off, leave
Yep.
the other one, twist the thing, slam it into someone, and turn the other one back on again.
Yep.
Like, I just think about it as a laser pointer. Like, we're kind of just, like, fighting back and forth, like in the first Star Wars one. Like, freaking Darth Vader versus whatever his name was. Just turn it off and point it like a laser pointer and turn it back on.
That's exactly how it should be.
And freaking, it just goes right through somebody's throat. Just oops.
Yeah, we were actually like talking about this the other day with Vi and her parents, who are also like huge Star Wars nerds. And the one thing that I was like, I know a lot of people are disappointed about a lot of things when it comes to the prequel trilogy, but one of the ones that's way up there for me was how Yoda fights.
Oh,
I don't like his little bouncy ball monkey of doom fighting style. I was so hoping, because I do come from a martial arts background, that he would have the sort of absolute total
Toast
body
wants a
control
staff
and
saber.
mastery. Yeah, staff saber would be awesome. That I've only seen from some of the older martial arts guys that I had the pleasure to learn under, in that they don't use frantic motion, they don't move all over the place. It is total energy economy. Very little motion, but every motion is effective. Every motion serves a purpose. And I was really hoping for that sort of thing when like someone is just like railing at him, trying to sling all kinds of attacks, and it looks like he barely moves, but every motion just flows a little bit out of the way of whatever's coming at him. And all he does is just move a little bit forward and just happen to land things. I've seen that from like the older teachers that I've studied under, and it is a beautiful thing to witness because you're looking at absolute mastery over one's body. And the Yoda didn't have that, even though he was so overtly like the Japanese Grand Master in theme, was just so disappointing from a literary standpoint, if not even a visual one.
Yeah. But the thing is, I mean, according to the books, at least that I've read from back in that time frame, they finally started coming out. It fits all the books the way he was fighting, like the super energy speed thing that he was using. It fits the books because they described him as very fast, very all over the place, but then he completely dies afterwards. Like he has no energy at all. He exhibits all of his force
Gotcha.
all at once, and then just cannot do anything else. And that's why I loved in the movie when he finished the battle, he was like moving slowly and had to grab his staff because he was like out of energy.
Yeah.
And as much as I would have loved what you were talking about, it fit the books, and that just like I was sitting there open mouth. It was
The thing that I never
It was
understood
so
about
good.
Yoda after watching those fights was that like he's the like really like fast, flamboyant, and like bouncy, and like all over the place pretty much. Like when he fights, I never understood why he needed a cane afterwards, because like even in the movies, like you see he has the power of like his force, power, strength, whatever, he has the power to like move giant like things all over the place. Why can't he just use that, like a portion of that, to keep himself up straight?
I think it's to illustrate humility. It's the idea of, like, you don't necessarily have to flaunt your power all the time if a simple cane will do. It's
I guess.
it just kind of fits the image of the old Grandmaster who's very, like, conservative and everything a bit more closely.
Well, plus
Yeah, that
he's
makes
actually
sense.
very old.
Yeah,
By the
he
time
is.
He's
the
900.
one, I think
Yeah.
he's like, what, 500 years
No.
old?
No,
He's 900.
He's 900 in Return of the Jedi.
When he
But
dies.
Yeah,
in the
so he was,
in the-
what,
but in the
800?
Yeah, that would put him in, like, 850s during the prequel trilogy.
Yep.
Yeah.
in this thing
So, I
of
mean,
prequels,
he
when
is...
when he was fighting was it Palpatine, he was like throwing the like
Oh, yeah.
the senator chairs.
Yeah, it's not to say that he can't. It's just that he chooses not to.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also, I mean, he is old, but, like, at least in the books they explain it, he's very focused on the mental
yeah.
aspect.
Oh, yeah.
He's very inward, and that's why he's the awesome teacher and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
When he's walking around with a cane, his brain is like everywhere.
Yeah.
In the Force, he's not using it for himself, and he is old, so he would have to devote a bit of Force to move, and so he's very, very specialized, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the power, but he doesn't need to use it.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things about the design and everything from prequel trilogy and the cinematography was almost everything about Count Dooku. And not just because I am a Christopher Lee fanboy, but because they used Christopher Lee's background and talents to every single advantage that they possibly could.
They really did.
The fact that Christopher Lee is a very practiced fencer, and like, he used to do a lot of the old, like, black and white and early film, like the Musketeer kind of like fencing movies and everything, means he had impeccable fencing form, even with a lightsaber. And the fact that even though they were diametrically opposed in the fight between Yoda and Dooku, he still did the classic fencing salute before engaging. I'm just like, yeah! That is that character done well!
Made him happy.
Like,
Matthew
Duke...
says the only weapon in Star Wars I don't like are the laser crossbows. That's just stupid.
Yeah, that's just dumb.
Yeah.
The bowcaster.
No,
Yeah.
Actually, not. It's not as stupid as you think. I kind of had to research it, so I was waiting.
Did they actually properly explain it in one of the graphic novels or something?
The crossbow has nothing to do with lasers.
Oh.
The laser crossbow, it's actually called a bowcaster.
Right. I know that's what
in the Star Wars
Chewbacca
universe.
uses.
And it's the weapon that Chewbacca uses. It's a Wookiee weapon that they
Right.
created because they needed to take down huge prey on Kashyyyk. And so it's not a laser gun. It has nothing to do with lasers or blasters or whatever. What it does is it uses magnetics from those two huge balls on the side to fling basically it's a slug.
Oh, so it's a railgun.
Bowcaster round, and that slug is explosive.
Oh, nice.
And what it does to increase the power when it hits is it coats that slug in plasma, and that's why it makes
okay.
an effect. So that when that plasma hits the target, it releases all the plasma and then explodes. So
Right.
you're gonna get a huge
So-
hole in any chest.
Yeah, it's basically like an armor-piercing coating that then explodes once the armor's been pierced to do maximum damage.
And then explodes again with the
Right.
explosive round. And
See, that makes much more sense. It's an explosive railgun, essentially.
devastating. And anytime they put that in a game, I absolutely open mouth.
Let me
It's
just
the
say-
stupidest looking gun ever, but it works.
Let me just say, the only thing I don't like about the Star Wars and the Star Wars series, when it comes to the prequels, yes, the prequels aren't the best thing ever made.
That's an understatement.
But listen, I'm trying to be nice here.
No, don't be
The
nice.
the thing that I like to do when it comes to movies, especially when like this part came before but we're making it after thing is, I like to watch them in the order, like by timeline.
Yeah,
timeline
chronologically.
order. Yeah, chronologically and not like when they came out, because like it just makes more sense that way. What I don't like is that like in the prequels, like the fighting became so much more intense. Like the people were flipping back and forth and jumping from there to there. And then in the original movies, it's like we're gonna touch sticks.
Yeah.
Like
the most intense fight in the original trilogy was the very last one between Luke and Vader.
I actually really liked that one myself.
And even that, like, only Luke really got very energetic in that fight.
Right.
And then through the prequels, it was like everything was flippy lightsaber swings.
Yeah. Well, and like there is kind of an explanation for what I'm about to mention. I kind of started the sentence in reverse, but the other thing that is kind of weird watching them chronologically is that it seems like stuff from the prequel era is like more advanced than the original trilogy era. Like, but part of the explanation for that is probably that like the Empire's stuff looks a bit older, but it's mostly just cleaner, simpler designs, and the Rebels are all using very old, like scrabbled together, scavenged gear that probably is actually older than the prequel era. So like there is an explanation for it, but it doesn't necessarily like glide very well visually from one aesthetic to the other.
No, it does. In every way, you should watch 4, 5, 6, then 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And every time I do it, I watch it that way because I just can't stand to watch it the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
I can, like, I just have to put everything together as I go along.
So what you're saying is you're gonna have like a 15-hour day at some point when you watch all 3 Hobbit movies followed by all 3 Lord of the Rings movies.
No, I refuse to watch The Hobbit, and I can't stand to watch the first Lord. Well, actually, no, I watched the first Lord of the Rings. I just can't remember that well. I can't watch Twin Towers because I unconsciously hang myself.
See, Twin Towers is my favorite. It's Return of the King. I'm not too fond of.
And I could never finish
Return
it
of the
because I
King.
fall asleep. I hate downtime. I hate long downtime in movies, and for some reason, like there's this really long
there is a lot of downtime in pretty much all of the Lord of the Rings movies.
I love the downtime in Lord of the Rings, though.
I can appreciate it, but I recognize there is a lot of it. And if you don't like downtime, not necessarily the movies for you.
I mean, it's not that I don't like downtime. It's just there's so much goddamn time where nothing is happening.
The funny thing, I learned recently that Peter Jackson gave Orlando Bloom very, very little direction on set as Legolas. And so apparently almost all of like Legolas's reactions to things were just improv. Almost all of it was Orlando Bloom just being like, whatever, I'm just gonna do this. And yeah, but a friend of mine pointed out that if you watch those movies not with the usual intent of just watching them to enjoy them, but pay attention to what Orlando Bloom is doing in the background of scenes where other people are in the front, he makes some awesome facial expressions. And he's just like trolling the whole set the whole time.
It's glorious.
It's awesome. But like,
I actually watched the movie the first time, and I actually watched Orlando Bloom the most out of everyone there because I couldn't care less about every other character except him in that movie because I had seen a lot of his other movies and I was already a super fan. So it's like, you know what, Aragorn, couldn't care less. You know,
so I was all over Aragorn.
Oh, you just killed me. Aragorn
Viggo
was always my favorite.
Viggo Mortensen, love that guy.
No, he was boring.
No,
he was intense. He was awesome. He nailed it.
Yep.
And
I agree, the actor nailed it. He was beat up by now, easily. I mean, I'll watch it.
I think that might just be your fanboyism showing. Just putting that out there.
The things that really gave me a lot of respect for Viggo Mortensen weren't necessarily like the on-screen, because he did a good job on screen, but it's reading through like on IMDb a lot of like the trivia and stuff, and watching in the extended cut like behind the scenes aspects of those movies. All the shit that Viggo Mortensen either dealt with or put up with or accidentally put himself through.
He almost died on set.
Yeah, he almost died a couple of times.
Watched him die in the movie.
And like really cool point of respect for me was the one
knife.
thing at a time.
I want you to tell me about the knife.
The swordmaster that was instructing every one of the actors on their weapons choreography on set regards Viggo Mortensen as the best student he's ever had in like 60 years of instruction. Apparently he took to the swordsmanship amazingly well, and he applied that knowledge immediately because of what she was just mentioning. The scene in the first film in which the big Uruk-hai Lurtz like yanks the dagger out of his leg and then chucks it back at Aragorn. It wasn't scripted for Aragorn to just baseball bat block that knife. He was supposed to just dodge. The actor playing, the stuntman that was playing Lurtz accidentally missed, and by missed, I mean accidentally threw it right at Viggo Mortensen's fucking face. And on reflex, he just snatches his sword up off the ground, swings, and deflects it.
Otherwise,
That's why...
we would have watched him die.
Yeah, like, he would have gotten
scene.
nailed in the face by a dagger. Like, if you watch his reaction to that, that's why it looks so panicked and just so, like, adrenaline, because that's what it was. He was really reacting. And
to a sharpened knife coming at his face.
Yeah, and in the next film, when they stumble upon the pile of Uruk carcasses that the Rohirrim left...
That they think Merry and Pippin are buried.
Yeah, they think Merry and Pippin are dead, so Aragorn has his dramatic kick the helmet and ah drama. That scream was not acting. When he kicked that helmet, he broke his toe. Oh. That's what he was screaming about.
And the thing is they filmed the running scenes after that.
The really epic scenes with the da 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 da, with like filmed from the helicopter where they're all running over the big mountains and everything. They filmed that afterwards, so all three of the actors on screen were injured. Viggo Mortensen had his broken toe, Orlando Bloom had a cracked rib from getting bucked off a horse, and the stunt actor that was playing Gimli for the running scenes had like a pulled hamstring or something, so all of them were running injured. And yet it looked impeccable on screen. I have so much respect for the actors that did all of the background stuff and for the production of those movies, because they dealt with some serious crap.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a reason why everybody who played a member of the Fellowship, except for Gimli, but Gimli's...
His stunt actor got it.
His stunt actor got it. They all got Fellowship in Elven script tattooed on their bodies somewhere.
Yep.
Every single one of them.
Yeah, you can actually see in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, the later ones, Orlando Bloom's tattoo shows a couple of times when his sleeve rides up. You can actually see his tattoo in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
So he has Elvish script on his piratey self.
Yeah, yeah. The editors didn't catch that and airbrush it out.
Or they caught it and didn't want to.
Yeah, I just didn't care.
Yep.
Just like, it looks like a pirate tattoo, leave it.
Yep.
Kevin Bros like moving to Lord of the Rings, and Matthew says that's normal wrap-up talk. Topics all over the place.
Yeah.
Toast says running injured. Those paws insane.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you could never have seen that his toe was broken.
No.
I'm like, how do you run on a broken toe without like limping a little bit?
Yep.
He's just.
I pulled a hamstring. Like that's.
Yeah.
I could barely walk.
Yeah, like running on a pulled ham is just like, no.
I wouldn't want to run with a cracked rib either.
Yeah, it's that last one that I can't completely... I know that all three of them were injured. I think it was the pulled hamstring on Gimli's stunt actor. It may have been something else. But, like I said, I know Orlando Bloom had the cracked rib and Viggo Mortensen had the broken toe.
Like, that helmet was made right, man. He needed steel-toe boots or something.
Yeah, well, like, they actually had a proper armorist. Like, it wasn't just, like, foam prop armor on set. Like, they actually made, I think it was, like, 9,000 suits of chainmail for all the extras. They were in, like, the Battle of Helm's Deep and everything for all the orcs and the Rohirrim guys. Like, they made huge amounts of armor and weapons for the extras and props and stuff of that movie. And almost all of it was made properly.
Mm-hmm.
So what was he wearing on his foot? Just the bone? That just like kicked it and broke his foot?
Just leather boots.
Just his normal character's leather boots.
Yep.
Probably some socks and.
Yeah, because like that was before they donned all the like chainmail and plated stuff for later on. So he was still in his ranger garb, which is to say very light, just a leather coat and boots.
And so he kicked it and hit it just wrong.
And broke his big toe.
Well, let's thank him for not.
I know.
He just
well, like that's
screams.
That's the thing. Like when they reviewed the footage, even he was just like, "That's actually really good. That's dramatic. Let's keep it."
Yep. That's the same thing that happened with the Lurtz throwing the knife.
Yep.
Is they afterwards he pops up and says, "Did it look good?"
Yep.
No. I know if that was me, like, I stubbed my toe and, like...
Start swearing.
Storm.
Yes.
Like, if I were to break my foot, which I've come very close to, because dance and all that nonsense, I would like just. One long hour long.
Beep 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 beep.
Yes.
Morse code.
There's no space in between. This is a one long ass.
Yep. I don't know how he managed to keep his composure.
He didn't. He just didn't say words. He just screamed.
I know, but how does he manage not to start swearing? Because I even swear when I stub my toe here at home.
The thing is, like, Viggo Mortensen is just a very, like, proper guy. He doesn't actually strike me as the type that would immediately just start swearing if he's in pain.
That's true.
Like, he and Hugh Jackman are just, like, impeccable gentlemen.
Matthias says, well, not real well-made armor, but still real.
Well, yeah, I mean, not, like, combat-worthy, but, metal.
Well, it was also because the Urks did not have exactly the nicest of armors.
She's like, yeah, slap some metal on it, that's good enough.
Toe says, when I stub my toe, I scream and swear like a sailor. Then I just take the pain after a second.
This really did turn into a podcast at some point.
Like, I'll stub my toe and I'll either swear or I'll, like, go completely closed lips and just have, like, this weird hum of pain. I don't know why. It was just like this high-pitched whine that comes.
I wouldn't blame Hugh Jackman for not screaming if he stubs his toe. He's made out of metal on the inside.
I have such respect for this. He's got that rare
God, now
ability.
we're going to X-Men.
Well, that's it's a little thing, but he's got the rare ability among actors to carry even god-awful movies just with his acting.
He really does.
Like, quite a few of the X-Men movies, terrible movies. But if Hugh Jackman is in it, suddenly it's watchable.
The Wolverine movie?
Oh, God, no. Wolverine Origins, I'm like, Hugh, my God, did you really... Were those bills worth this?
See, Toast does the hum of pain,
The
too.
only reason I watched that movie was because he was in it, so
Yeah.
it was worth it because of that.
Yeah, same here.
He was on Ink Master.
Was he?
Yes, he did. He was a guest on Ink Master. He didn't judge because he refused to, essentially say something was crap.
He's so impeccably polite.
See, the thing is they were doing a comic book thing, so it was all X-Men that were being tattooed. So he came in and was looking at all the tattoos.
Gotcha.
And I'm just like... He
also,
could not say a bad thing about any of them. I thought that was the most hilarious thing.
Also, other point of respect for Hugh Jackman.
Menthius says, like, one real breastplate of plate armor is about $3,000, especially with all the decorations.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, continue.
I didn't realize until recently, because I follow him on Facebook, Hugh Jackman has been dealing with cancer for like 3 years.
Really?
And still acting. And he's still keeping himself in amazing physical shape. Never mind the fact that every couple of weeks he's going in for treatment. Like... The respect meter is off the charts.
No kidding.
I forget what kind. I think it's like skin cancer or something. I forget what.
I think it is. I'm pretty
Something
sure.
like that.
So it says, I kind of do that Peter Griffin thing where he drops to the floor, grabs his foot, and just does that hiss thing. Just be like... Yeah. And Menthius would be like Creeper.
And
not.
Well, before I go off on another random movie tangent,
yes,
I think it's time to conclude this podcast.
I think we need, when we upload it, we need to label this last section as podcast.
Just
like this last 2 hour section, just label it as podcast.
I think you need to go record some more Survarium stuff and overlay that over this.
Unfortunately, the export process does not allow
yeah,
that.
that's the one thing I don't like about the direct export from Twitch to YouTube. I can't edit it at all.
We can't edit it and we can't download it.
Well, I would have to export it to YouTube, keep it a private video, then download it from YouTube, then edit it, then re-render, then re-upload. And I just don't want to jump through all those hoops.
It would also kill the quality completely.
Yeah, like it would drop down from 1080 to like 4.
Yep. Yeah. Toast is like, we've been watching the same background for a long time.
Yes, it's been like
a long time.
So thank you all for your patience.
Yes, we need to exit the game.
Yeah, let me close out.
Duck Hunt?
Sure.
I think it might be Mario like his brothers I was about to say Mario 64, but no, that's too high def.
Yeah, that is.
Okay.
Alright,
So I think we got to do it. We got to go.
Yeah, so before I go off on another tangent, so thank you all for joining us for this, I was about to say episode, my god, my brain. For this game jam here at Last Level Press, this has not gone completely to plan, considering I got all the visual bugs and then we went into our podcast mode here at the end, but it's been fun all the same. I've enjoyed myself.
Yep.
So
Okay.
you all have a magnificent evening. I'm Mr. Black here at Last Level Press. This is Violetta, and as always, wish you all good gaming
and Godspeed.